Hey, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're the Rambling Reviewers.
And today we're looking at Captain America Civil War, which is basically Avengers 3 almost.
Yeah, okay, this was a great Avengers film.
Yeah.
Or a great Iron Man film, or...
I mean, it probably focused on Captain more than the rest of them.
Slightly.
Because it's the whole Bucky angle, throws the whole plot into motion.
Yeah, okay, so...
But basically, I think this is the 75th anniversary this year of Captain America appearing in comics. I think that was part of the reason why they called it Captain America Civil War, not just the whole MCU Civil War.
Yeah, okay. Was this a good movie? Yes.
Yeah. No, it was definitely better than Age of Ultron.
Oh, it was definitely better.
Oh, it's so much more just
coherence
and feeling to it,
Yeah.
And new angle with the whole heroes fighting each other, and yet and handled it kind of interestingly. Like, compare this to the comics Civil War. Comics Civil War sucks.
Yeah, Comic Civil War was just mismanaged on all sides.
All levels. It was like, all right, so there's this mutant, or not mutant, because they've done the Mutant Registration Act, and now it's the Superhero Registration Act,
which is basically the same thing.
It's basically the same thing. You notice conspicuously in the comics, the X-Men just sit out the entire war because they've had this plot line so many times. The writers are like, nah, never mind. The X-Men just aren't involved. The end. But it was like, all right, we're passing this law to regulate the... Well, I'll just say it briefly. Regulate the heroes or whatever, and they never actually told you what was in the law, and then they try to arrest Captain America before the law has even been passed.
Oh, you're doing the comics.
The comics. And it was like, what is going on there? And then they just kept fighting and fighting, and there was no villain in the comics. There were villains, but there wasn't like a central villain who was making the whole Civil War happen. Which is important to have. Someone needs to be lighting the match to make heroes fight each other. And this one we have Zemo and...
Well, to be fair, having heroes fight each other for purely philosophical reasons, that's an interesting story all on its own. The problem was that it was so badly handled.
That's true. It's harder to handle without a villain.
Tony Stark came across as a fascist.
Yeah.
And that was even when they were writing stories where he was supposed to be the good guy.
Yeah, no, it came across all wrong. This was so much more intelligent.
And so then they eventually ended it by shooting Captain America with a time bullet.
Yeah, what the hell? I read this whole comic where Captain America dies and comes back to life. It does not make any goddamn sense.
Hey, you know what would work better than like a time bullet? How about a bullet?
A bullet?
Just as a bullet.
He shoots it with a time bullet, and he re-experiences his past decades of life.
Gee, could it be because they did the same thing with Batman?
They did do the same thing with Batman, didn't they?
Well, at the bare minimum, Darkseid is stupid and crazy enough for that sort of shit to make sense.
I guess.
You're fighting a Nazi who did this.
Yeah, the Nazis were well known for using actual bullets. I learned that in a documentary.
Yeah, but they're also the kind that would use... Comic Nazis are well known for their mad science. So, I could just... Regular Nazis, I would imagine, would put a bullet in the back of your skull. Yeah. Comic Nazis would be... Behold, my swastika cyborg dinosaurs!
True, but the swastika cyborg dinosaur would still actually kill you. And not do this funky thing of not actually killing you, but... he leaves like a corpse, so clearly he's dead, except then they bring the corpse and then, later on it disintegrates for no reason, because apparently his actual body has been sent through time, but, the corpse that they had there was totally looked over by S.H.I.E.L.D. and sniffed by Wolverine and, tested by everything they could find to be like, yes, this is totally him, except no, it's not, because our writers are totally just not, don't know what they're doing. So the movie was so much better.
Yeah. Okay, so it starts off with the Avengers in Who Gives a Crapistan.
Oh, no, it was that one African country.
Well, it wasn't in Wakanda.
No, but it was north of that. I saw it was on their map.
Like I said, Who Gives a Crapistan?
Okay, well, whoever you are, people. Nigeria, was it? I want to say Nigeria. Let's call it Nigeria.
Okay, we're gonna get letters.
Sorry.
So where they're intercepting Crossbones, who was a bad guy in the Captain America Winter Soldier movie, who has come back for revenge because reasons to steal a bioweapon that's...
Oh, okay, yeah. Basically, use. A villain is doing villainous things. We don't really need to know the details.
And then Crossbones decides to become a suicide bomber.
Because he's already been captured. I get that.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have resorted to suicide bombing. But I'm not a supervillain, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. His reasoning for suicide bombing just seems a little dubious to me. Suicide bombing to me should be reserved to fanatics.
Yeah.
Like, super patriots, like, I won't let you compromise secrets of my nation. Bam! I should... In the name of my God! Boom! Hail You would work well. Hail Hydra, Captain. Hail Hydra, American slave. Boom! Wouldn't that have worked right there?
Was he Hydra before?
He was working sort of with Hydra.
So he's at the ballpark if he doesn't even if he doesn't say it.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, he blows himself up, but...
what's her name?
Jesus. Scarlet Witch decides
Wanda, yeah.
Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, throws him into the air so that... Because she can't contain the explosion on the ground.
Yeah.
And it blows up part of an office building in the air. I mean, like the...
Yeah, there's a floating office building, just floats by.
Hey, this is the universe that brought us the helicarrier.
Yeah. The office carrier? Not nearly as cool.
Yeah.
God, if Shield were more realistic, they would totally have one of those. This is where we do all our taxes.
So, anyways...
So, this is a very interesting inciting incident. The Avengers saved people, but people died in the meantime, and part of it was kind of Wanda's fault. If she hadn't intervened, more people would have died, but still, hey, you could have maybe done a little bit better job of saving people's lives.
Okay. And then, the General Ross from the Hulk movie.
Yeah.
He hasn't appeared since the Incredible Hulk MCU film shows up and is like, here's video footage of all the times you guys are fucked up. And
he makes a strong point.
To which I leaned over. It shows, the invasion throwing, debris everywhere and crushing people, which I pointed out. Not their fault. Then it shows, what else did it show?
The helicarriers all coming, the special helicarriers.
That was Hydra's fault.
Yeah, that was not their fault, you said, yeah.
Let's see. The...
Nigeria, he showed them that.
No. The Age of Ultron stuff where the floating island was being destroyed. That one actually was their fault. That was their fault.
Yeah,
that
Tony
was absolutely
Ultron.
their fault.
Yep.
Yeah, that was... You done fucked up.
Yeah.
But heck, this is a point that they've been making even as far back as the original Avengers movie. When they said that the reason why they started panicking was because a grudge match between two aliens leveled a small town out in the West.
Oh yeah, referencing Thor. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was what happened in Thor. A town was leveled. Mm-hmm. Because aliens were like, no, I don't want you to get the throne of Asgard, but I deserve the throne of Asgard.
Yeah. So, there's been collateral damage, and the nations have got practically all, or 117, which is more than half the nations of the world, have put together the Sokovia Accords that says, all right, Avengers, you can keep saving the world, but from now on, you're under the supervision of a UN panel, and the panel will tell you what you get to do and when you get to do it. And I think they did a good job of balancing the two sides of this argument. Where on the one hand, if we had a little more coordination, then maybe, we would save more lives. And also, they need to have a checks on us just in case we went crazy and decided to become villains or something.
No, the problem was that they did have an organization that had checks on them. The problem was that was S.H.I.E.L.D., and S.H.I.E.L.D. was disbanded because of Hydra.
Well, right, which is why they want to have a new S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. But the idea being, though, of course, on the anti-registration side of the argument of, hey, S.H.I.E.L.D. was, infiltrated by the bad guys. What if the UN gets infiltrated by bad guys? Which, small note for the real world, bad things have happened at the UN now and then. They haven't exactly tried to take over the real world, but, there have been corruptions and things like that.
Yeah, but the UN is so toothless that it basically it doesn't matter.
That happens, too.
I can see both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
Tony wants more...
Tony, ironically enough, for Tony, wants to have himself held in check. But it makes sense in context. Mm-hmm. He's the one who invented Ultron. He probably feels super guilty about that. There's that woman who confronts him after he gives that MIT speech.
I still say that they should have had, bodyguards or something guarding the place so that some lunatic with a pistol doesn't just blow his brains out.
Yeah, he's the thing, though. He's Tony Stark. He's arrogant enough not to think about these things.
So he's arrogant enough to think that he doesn't need anyone to protect him, but he needs people to protect the world from him.
Exactly. If he thinks he's an awesome badass, then the world needs to be protected from me because I'm so awesome, and I would totally steamroll you if I ever turned evil.
Wow, that makes him sound like a douche, doesn't it?
It kind of does. But it's so nice though that he really cares about that one kid who died in Sokovia, and there's other kids too, but the one in particular he gets a picture of, and thinks, well, we kind of created that whole situation.
Let's see.
So people are putting out on TV tropes head scratchers like, how is General Ross, Ross is now the Secretary of State? Like, didn't he was kind of responsible for the Hulk and the Abomination fighting each other in the middle of Harlem? And then people are like, well, no, that's part of the point. There's corruption in the system, and he has connections, and he moved from the Department of Defense to the State Department, and here he is, kind of above the law.
It might have also just been political visibility, because General Ross is a military figure who's not associated with the defunct and highly corrupt SHIELD organization, who has experience with dealing with metahumans.
Right. So he gets
Granted, they probably leverage the I am trying to develop weapons to kill the Hulk rather than the I accidentally had them break Harlem.
Yeah.
Bit.
And that was kind of the other guy's fault too. The guy turned into the Abomination, but
yeah.
So anyway, so he's there, and the Avengers then have a talk about, all right, should we sign these accords or not? And Tony says yes because he feels guilty about everything. But Natasha says yes because, well, we will have some control if we agree to it now rather than having it being pushed on us later.
Yeah.
Who's else on the side? War Machine says yes because he's in the freaking Air Force, so he's up for taking commands. And on the other side, and Vision says yes because power invites challenge, which it kind of doesn't if you think about it, but okay, whatever.
Well, he does point out that historically he actually gets this wrong. He says the last 8 years, but in universe it's only been about 6 years since Tony.
Yeah.
Out of universe it's been 8 years.
Yeah.
But in universe, he points out, okay, superheroes and supervillains have started really duking it out a lot in the last 6 years, so, maybe we could use some oversight.
Yeah, it doesn't directly follow. The way he phrases it is, power invites challenge. Well, really, the villains would have done all their villainy things even if there hadn't been heroes to fight. But okay, fine. Vision, he's up on the registration side of things. And then Captain America leads the anti-reg side. He says, look, the UN panel might be corrupt. They might send us to the wrong place. They might not send us somewhere we need to go. We shouldn't agree to these things if they're going to be stupid about it. The safest hands are still our own. And he's got Falcon on his side, Sam. And eventually Wanda, but she's not actually in that conversation.
Wanda is currently under house arrest by Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Because he has this little concern that people might, want to hurt the girl who accidentally blew up an office building. Yes, it's not rational, and yes, I know that's not the whole story, but this is the Marvel Universe where people are extremely stupid and are willing to blame heroes for things they didn't do.
I mean, there's plenty of stupidity in the real world, too,
yeah, but Marvel Universe seems especially prone to it.
I guess.
We really... Okay, I will grant that, at the time of 9/11, we were super in favor of the police and the firemen.
Yeah.
And today, that's lessened a bit. Some of it is justified with evidence of police corruption going on in places like, what was that place? Ferguson and Chicago and New York. But that was with justifiable reason. People in the Marvel Universe seem to go, oh, it's a superhero. He must be responsible for everything wrong.
Yeah.
It's like Galactus eats Australia. How dare you, Iron Man? How dare you be the cause of this? What did I do?
I'll give you that.
And I'd like to give one other example. I will just say 2 words, and then I will let you get on with it to prove my point of why the Marvel Universe hates its heroes. Spider-Man. Let's continue.
J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, what? He just has a proven record of saving the city, an infinite number of times.
Yeah.
Well, not even J. Jonah Jameson. There's a lot of people who agree with him.
Well, yeah, I'm saying he's the main guy who... He's always promoting spider hatred, partly because it just gets him more, views on his...
I really, really hope that he shows up as J. Jonah Jameson in the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh, he should.
He should?
Yeah.
Because he was just the past J. Jonah Jameson.
He is. Whatever that guy's name was. I forget his name.
J.K. Simmons?
J.K. Simmons. There you go.
Yes, okay. So, anyways, but then Cap has to go because Sharon Carter, his partner from the first movie...
Because Peggy's died. Oh, so sad. It makes sense. It's also sad.
It turns out that that girl he was crushing on in the second movie was her granddaughter.
Or she said niece, didn't she? Or
Niece,
grandniece,
whatever,
maybe,
grandniece.
however that works.
But, like, it has the same last name, so...
Yeah.
So, but anyways, one part I do really hate about this is that Captain America's most famous speech, the "No, you move" speech, is spoken by her to Cap instead of the other way around, when it's like, this is Cap's most famous speech.
Yeah.
Aside from the sound of Hitler's face getting punched by his gloves, which I count as a speech worthy of being put into the National Archives.
Yeah.
But my point is clear. It takes an iconic element of Captain America's story and makes it not about him.
Yeah.
It's happening to him,
It's happening
not
to
by
him. It helps inspire the whole damn movie, you know.
But he's Captain America. He should already be inspired and stuff. Because he's...
Yeah, but it was neat for me to see him kind of brought low by the grief of losing Peggy, and then I mean, it's not like he, changed his mind about registration, but then to have someone kind of, amp it up a little bit more by giving a neat speech. And I'll grant you, yes, you were hoping to see Cap make the speech, and now maybe he can't, but it was still a good scene, overall. And they are blending so many things very well. I mean, earlier, Tony is giving a speech to MIT where it's revealed to us, the audience, that he's
broken up with Pepper. Well, Pepper broke up with him because, he's like, Iron Man 3, yep, I'm not going to be Iron Man anymore. Then Avengers came out and is like, well, I guess I'm still Iron Man.
Right, and you know what? There were actual consequences about that. What do you know? He lost his girlfriend. So he's hurting from that, and then that immediately slides into this woman who's blaming him about her son who died in Sokovia, and then we see Cap is struggling, because the death of Peggy naturally puts him in a bad spot. So there are things going on in people's personal lives that contributes to their ill will indirectly that eventually, has them fighting.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we've been flashing to this random-ass doofus who's looking at Hydra shit.
Zemo, right.
Zemo. I say random-ass doofus because I do not like this character. He doesn't make sense, but we'll get to that at the end of the film when all of his film...
I liked him. He was an interesting villain.
Yeah, he comes across as a little too Deus Ex Machina for me.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of that, yes. But considering all the other villains they're this whole, like, and now you have magic powers or some shit, this is like his version of the magic... It's like the standard villain thing. He has to have some way to threaten the heroes, you know what I mean?
But, so, anyways, eventually he arranges for a suicide bombing of the place where they're signing the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah, in Vienna. So they're signing the Accord, and then Black Panther's there, and they managed to characterize so many people. Black Panther gets all of 20 seconds with his dad before the dad gets killed in this bombing.
But, we still identify with the character.
We still identify with him, yeah.
So, and it turns out that he framed Bucky for this.
Yes. So Bucky, it's all over the news now. There's Bucky's face. This guy's the Winter Soldier. Everyone go look for him, whatever. And Cap then talks to his girlfriend. What's her name? Carter? Not girlfriend. Well, we find out later they kiss, yeah.
Sharon Carter.
Sharon. He talks to Sharon, who's like his mole now inside the governmental thingamajigs. Not S.H.I.E.L.D., CIA, I guess.
Here's where Bucky is. Go get him, bring him in, because right now they got shoot-to-kill orders.
Yeah, which they don't seem to obey those orders later on. But at the moment... Right?
Yeah.
At the moment...
So they manage to get him... He runs away...
With Bucky, right? He finds Bucky.
And then, suddenly Black Panther happens.
Because what the hell, you killed my dad. And we're like, all right, that's a thing. That makes sense. And they're fighting.
And he is a pretty awesome... Imagine if Batman and Catwoman made a suit, except it's made of the same stuff that Vision is made out of. Vibranium. So it's bulletproof. It has all these cool properties and stuff. Like, it can grow these claws that are super sharp. Mm-hmm. It scratches Cap's shield.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he's generally a badass, even though he's like the son of a diplomat.
No, the son of the king.
Son of the king, so he's a prince. Now he's the king, I guess. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, I guess he's not the king yet because there has to be like a formal ceremony inducting him.
Depends on their laws. I don't know.
Okay, well, I don't know that then.
No, he mentions in the car after they get arrested that he is currently king. So apparently it's an instant thingamajig.
Wait, so how come he doesn't just claim, oh, sorry, diplomatic immunity, and then just slices the guy's head off? Diplomatic immunity, bitches!
At the time that happened, they were already in the car, and Bucky was in a different vehicle. But yeah, no.
Yeah, still, he should have.
Done that.
Like, they get arrested and stuff, and he should have just gone, I'm sorry, I'm the king, diplomatic immunity, pulled out air horns and just started blasting them into the air as he walks away.
That could be the Hishi. That could be the how it should have ended. So anyway, they have the whole chase scene, whatever, and then they get arrested, and they end up, like, they put down their weapons and everything, with all these guys with guns surrounding them. And none of them goes for the shoot-to-kill order that just, puts a bullet in Bucky's brain at that exact moment. That would have ended the movie.
Well, maybe they didn't want, someone's aim to be off.
Yeah.
And they've already seen that one of the people there has a bulletproof suit.
They had him in a circle, so they could have shot their own men accidentally if they...
Yeah, that's one of the things they teach you not to do when using guns. Do not shoot in a circle because you could hit your own guys.
Yeah.
Unless the target is elevated above you.
I guess.
Like if they're on a horse or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but... also, they'd already seen that Black Panther can just walk through a bullet storm.
Well, they weren't trying to shoot Black Panther, but
and Captain America has a bulletproof shield, so if they miss and it ricocheted, it could hit someone.
So these are very well-trained guards, or not guards, SWAT team people.
Yeah, let's go with that to the explanation. And
let's
not
go with that.
Right.
Yeah. So they all get arrested, and they take it to some facility or other. And you know what? It's not like in the comics where it's just like, and straight up, now we're at war, and the two sides are fighting. Tony keeps trying to reconcile, and Steve is also kind of trying to reconcile. He says, look, if you just sign the Accords now, we'll make it retroactive that, you have permission retroactively to go take down Bucky, and that's all legal. Bucky will go to a psych ward instead of a prison in Wakanda. We'll make it as nice as we possibly can.
Well, when you say prison in Wakanda and not tree branch and a rope.
Well, yeah. He wasn't suicidal to begin with?
No. I mean, they're going to kill him because he killed the king.
Well, yeah.
He's guilty of... as far as they know, he's guilty of regicide.
Yeah, no, that's big. That's big. So he's trying to make it work. He brings out the pens that...
they used to sign the Lend-Lease Act.
Which is so appropriate because, Captain America's from that era and so forth.
Yeah, but I don't really get the symbolism because the Lend-Lease Act was an act of covertly trying to prevent Britain from falling to Nazi tyranny.
Yeah. It's an act of in some sense, declaring your allegiance to your friends.
Yeah, but just the current crisis doesn't really seem to fit the Lend-Lease Act.
Well, not exactly, but it's we are friends here. It's like I'm Britain and you're America.
I would have gone.
We're going to be friends.
I would have gone with the feather or the pen they used to finish the Civil War. At the Appomattox courthouse.
But they wanted to do World War II.
Yeah, but just because he's from World War II doesn't mean that there aren't other wars.
No, I know. I'm just saying. All right. So the point is, he brings.
Wait, there's other wars, right? There's other wars? No. Holy shit! Wait, you mean there might have been a World War I? Well, there's no war ever since I went to sleep. Okay, Cap, how much time have you spent watching the History Channel? All of it. I know that aliens have apparently been invading us, and that the Mayans built their pyramids to summon demons. You need to stop watching the History Channel.
Okay, so anyway, Tony brings out very special pens. Let's just say that. They're special, because he really cares about getting Steve to agree to this, and Steve almost does, until he hears that Wanda has been put under house arrest, which... is again one of those things. Like, I get what Tony's doing. I also get what Steve is like. You can't just have somebody arrested without due process and shit. When they walk into this facility, he says, "Hey, is there going to be a lawyer for Bucky?" And that I keep wanting to say Shield. I'm going to say CIA guy is like, a lawyer. That's funny, which is a little bit corrupt. Supposed to have lawyers. Okay.
Well, they were supposed to have a trial for Bin Laden too, but
Well, supposedly, it was a combat situation, and he ended up getting shot in the midst of a legitimate firefight.
Yes. Ended up getting shot.
I have wondered about that myself, but anyway.
Yeah, I
don't know.
As much as I'm a fan of due process, I also really wanted Bin Laden dead.
If I had the chance, I would have had him tried. I would have done it properly. That's my instincts are always towards the due process angle. But anyway.
Same here, but sometimes I'm more realistic and say sometimes it's not possible.
Well, the good news is they didn't shoot Bucky in the head, but they did put him in a special jail cell thing.
Yeah, why didn't they just pump knockout gas into that? Or like, put him under with tranquilizers?
Because they were having him interviewed by the psychologist.
Okay.
It was part of their process. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Could you imagine talking to him if he's knocked out? Like, Bucky,
yes,
you know who
can.
you are.
Are you kidding? I would watch that film.
So
oh my god, imagine the escape scene. If he was like all knocked out and shit. It's like, my god, he's moving so erratically. And he's just trying to walk into a wall. I can't shoot him. Why not?
It just seems too pitiful. Okay.
Oh, that would be great. Like, Tony just doesn't even get fully dressed up. He just goes, okay, I think you need to go back to your now. Oh, sorry, good. He just walks it back to his cell. Just goes, okay. Yeah. Go to sleep, little guy.
A bit of a thing. So, Steve refuses to sign the act because, he sees abuses of power going on here. Then the psychologist comes in to interview Bucky. Turns out that's actually Zemo.
Yeah, I'm kind of understanding why Cap has his objections when apparently government security sucks. Let's see, you didn't find the bomb van, and you didn't find Bucky for like 2 years, however long he's missing, when he's a known terrorist who has murdered like a shit ton of people.
Yeah, he's good at hiding, I guess. But then, Zemo walks in. I don't know if I guess he's disguised as the psychologist, but like not, hugely or something. I couldn't tell you. I don't think what the guy looks like.
You're just you're supposed to be replacing S.H.I.E.L.D., so obviously you wouldn't notice if the wrong fucking guy walks in.
Yeah, though, then again, maybe, S.H.I.E.L.D. used to handle all this shit, and now they're gone, and the rest of the world is scrambling to, like, be halfway competent. They don't know how.
So, yeah, he gives this code phrase and somehow manages to lock everyone out.
Well, he has a thing set up remotely so an EMP goes off and turns off all the power. Which apparently doesn't mess with Tony's tech, though, because he can still totally talk to his AI.
Well,
but everyone else's power goes out.
Yeah. Shouldn't they have, like, backup generators on this top-secret military base prison thing?
I mean, an EMP would mess up with even the backup generators.
Yeah,
but they should have, like, a Faraday cage
we see
or something. Yeah.
We see other tech working. So and, like, what? Did no one go... They noticed, this is not the right guy, and they were like, oh, we need to get in there. But, like, no one went in the door?
Well, they were on their way. I mean, it was the trope that I created over at TV Tropes, 5-second foreshadowing. Hey, wait a minute, is that the right... Then everything turns off, just before they got around to doing anything.
And so they didn't, like, have guards right outside rushing in and say, get down, the power just went out, sir. I don't know who you are. I mean, you're probably the psychologist, so we need to get you out of here in case the power comes back on and he's out. And just everyone just pointing guns at Bucky. Yeah. Well, the guy's like, wait, no, I have to finish this stupid nonsensical password. Oh, god damn it. God damn it.
That should be the Hishi.
Yeah, and he just stays in there and gets tried for his crimes against humanity and end of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. We have assumed that he had locked the guards out somehow. I don't know.
This is why I say he's full of bullshit Deus Ex Machina.
He's got some nonsense in there, I'll give you. But it was still pretty creepy when he's given the control phrase. Bucky's trying to break out and trying to stop it before it's done. And
I was giggling the whole time he was doing it.
You were.
It was a silly control phrase.
But
it sounded like aphasia.
It did. But that
train car, Buttercup, 1947, Bluebell.
It did, but I mean, I could see how that coming off funny. To me, it came across all the more scary because it was nonsensical. Because, like, it has to mean something, but you don't know exactly what, and it's gonna... And you'd seen before it was a control phrase, so we knew, like, in general what it was gonna do. And then, Bucky is apparently able to punch his way out of that jail cell. So it's a poorly made jail cell when you think about it.
Why didn't they take off that metal arm of his?
I guess that's harder to do than it sounds. But yeah. I mean, maybe there was a cattle prod in there that got deactivated because of the EMP,
Wait, why didn't the EMP affect his arm?
I don't know.
Shouldn't have just been like...
He's like hitting it with his shoulder.
So instead he's just hitting it with his fleshy human hand. Zemo's just like, I probably could have planned this better. And then he gets dragged away by the guards.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that could have... All right, so Bucky's strong enough to bust out, but not quite fast enough to get out of the control phase. So now he gets controlled, and then he helps Zemo take out the guards, who I guess have been locked out this whole time. And then Steve and Falcon show up. Steve and Sam show up down there, and they have to fight Bucky now because he's under mind control. There's this whole long fight scene. I love this bit towards the end where Bucky's trying to get away on the helicopter, and then Cap forcibly holds him down with his Cap's powers.
Well, we're not saying holds down Bucky.
No, yeah.
Holds down the helicopter.
He's got one hand on this rail on the side of the helipad, and the other hand on the helicopter landing gear thing, whatever you call those. And there's this great swell of music, and you see his muscles bulging and stuff, and it was pretty cool. And then it effortlessly transitions into the whole helicopter spins over sideways, and it's propellers go straight into the helipad itself. And I actually laughed out loud and said to you in the theater, and that's why you don't mess around with helicopters.
That's why you don't mess with Captain America.
Yeah, and don't mess with helicopters. Yeah.
You realize that we just watched Captain America literally beat a helicopter with his bare hands.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Anyone else would need rocket launchers or guns or shit? No. Captain America, bare hands versus a helicopter. Captain America wins.
Yeah. And then he gets Bucky all knocked out, and they go over the side and into the water, and they basically escape from that whole thing.
Yep. And then everyone's looking for them. And so he and Falcon call in some allies.
Well, they talk to Bucky, right?
Right.
And they've got, there's some sort of mechanical press or something that is on Bucky's metal arm to stop him from running away. Okay, you don't have complete trust in him. That's nice. So, fortunately for them, Bucky wakes up with full knowledge of who he is and who Captain America is. Where before he was a little iffy about it, remember? Even before the mind control. And he says, okay, Zemo is asking about the particular mission date, and the mission date involves... This time, Bucky had to kill a couple people and grab this serum that's basically super soldier serum that had been used on this elite death squad, which had then been, frozen out of action because they all went crazy after they got the serum. But apparently, Zemo wants his hands on those death squad people again so he can, make them not crazy and then follow him and they can go destroy the world or something.
Standard,
Standard villainy.
I want control of a squad of super soldiers.
Yeah. Which is so interesting when he turns out that's not what he's up to.
Yeah, thanks for spoiling that. But okay, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So now they have something to do besides just fight Tony. This is why you need a villain in your story.
Yeah, so they plan to go and get an airplane, but they know that they can't go to the airport because they're going to be watching that.
Well, they go to an airport.
Yeah, but they need backup. So they pull in a bunch of people who are anti-reg.
Right, they get... let's see, freaking Hawkeye.
They get Hawkeye.
Who, rescues Wanda from her house imprisonment thing.
Yeah.
Who then steps up to, beat the crap out of Vision. The first person who can actually do that.
Well, maybe, sort of. Vision's just used so inconsistently.
Yeah, he is.
Look, I just have unlimited power, but I can't stop a teenage girl from leaving a house. What?
My headcanon is that, in addition to whatever, maybe he's just vulnerable against psychic powers, but... I think he has a recharging thing, right? So the laser he uses takes up a lot of power, and that's why he doesn't just shoot everything all the time. He has to spend most of his time just hovering and waiting for the damn thing to recharge.
Okay, so meanwhile, Tony goes to New York and meets
Spider-Man,
Peter Parker,
yeah.
And it's this pretty cool scene where he's actually just interacting with Peter Parker normally, just trying to subtly draw him out before saying, look, I know you're Spider-Man.
Yeah. Quick question of the rhetorical kind. That's you, isn't it? Parker's very young, but I like that because it's contrast to everyone else. You have so many characters, they got to be contrast between
Aunt
them.
May is pretty young, too. Maybe her, 40s.
Yeah.
As opposed to...
She's always been, 70 years old in the comics, right?
1 foot in the grave already.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. And so many references that, which is nice. They do such an efficient job, though, right? We get, a few minutes with Peter to, establish who he is, what he can do. He references his backstory without really going into the details because we don't necessarily need them for this story.
We already know that.
Because we already know that, but,
after the 2 reboots, countless cartoon adaptations of it.
He recruits Spider-Man. And in the meantime, the anti-reg people have recruited Ant-Man, whom I didn't recognize because I skipped that whole movie.
I did too. Usually I see these things with you, and we didn't see it together, so I was like, oh, okay, I'm not seeing it.
But that's okay. It became clear enough, who he was. And they've already Hawkeye and now Wanda. And Bucky's already mentioned everyone at this point. So this is a little weird though. They're going to escape. They're going to go to Siberia, where the secret base is, on a helicopter, I think.
No, it's one of the Quinjets.
No. Initially, it wasn't their Quinjet. It was, because I saw this twice. They had their own vehicle. I'm pretty sure there's a helicopter. And Vision, nukes it with his laser thing, right? And then it's, there's the Quinjet that, apparently that's the Quinjet Tony came in on. Because not all of his allies can fly. So they're going to steal Tony's Quinjet. Which apparently does not require keys. Of any sort.
Yeah, look, security features in this movie just get the shaft.
Yeah. As they generally do in all superhero movies.
Well, you could argue that Captain America did one of two things. One, he knows enough about security features to be able to override it using a code that Tony didn't get around to locking out yet because he was busy trying to recruit all these allies to fight, two super soldiers, one of whom was trained to be an evil psychopath by Hydra. The other is that Captain America glared at it, and his pure Americanness made it open up to him because of freedom.
I think the second one's even more likely, because honestly, normally anything tech-based is totally Tony's domain. And there isn't another hacker hero on Cap's side to counter Tony's hacking ability. For his own goddamn Quinjet, he could just be like, oh, beep, 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 turn off. And the whole thing just lands.
He really should have done that.
He should have done that. And then freaking the thing wouldn't have happened to War Machine later on, but alright.
Okay, so it's actually probably the best superhero fight scene in the entire MCU. Because usually here's how the fight scenes go. It's a single hero or a group of heroes fighting against endless legions of mooks while the Keystone boss sits around at the top of the pile.
Yeah, that was Avengers 1.
Avengers 1, Age of Ultron, Captain America, Iron Man 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a recurring theme.
Yeah.
This time, it was a full-out brawl between multiple superheroes, fights interfering with one another. And Spider-Man did a really great job. He took out the Falcon and Bucky while snarking the whole fight. Falcon even says, you're not supposed to give advice to your enemies.
Yeah, no. So that was
he came in probably the best way ever. He's like, okay, well, we tried talking this out. Hey, Underoos! Take out the shield!
And he grabs Captain America's shield.
Why don't more people do that?
I don't know. Normally, Captain America doesn't get caught off guard, I guess. And Ant-Man gets his shield back. There's a lot of creativity. Normally, when you have a guy versus 1,000 mooks, the mooks are all the same. But when this fight, everyone's got different powers and patterns and personalities, too. And they keep using that. Natasha winds up fighting
Hawkeye?
With Hawkeye.
And they're just kind of bantering. It's clear they're not really taking this fight seriously.
It's like, are we still friends? Well, it depends on how hard you hit me. And then Wanda hits freaking Natasha because she says to Hawkeye, you weren't pulling your punches, And they did try to talk it out before they were fighting, right? So they're trying. Oh, and also the earlier scene is they say, okay, we're going to send special forces to go take down Captain America, says Ross. And Tony says, no, let me find them. And you can tell he wants to find them because he doesn't want Captain America to get shot. So it's, I'm fighting you because I like you. Makes so much more sense when friends are fighting each other, right? So it's for your own good type of thing. Oh, so much better in the comics.
And Hawkeye, Hawkeye takes an arrow and he puts Ant-Man on there and he fires it at... Who does he fire it at?
At Tony... And he winds up inside Tony's suit, right?
Yeah, and then he starts messing it up, but Tony has fire suppression systems inside of his armor and starts activating it, and he gets ejected out. And then Ant-Man later goes, well, I can do more than just shrink. And he grows into Giant Man.
Yeah.
He's moving really slow, but powerfully.
And then War Machine's like, okay, the giant dude's big now. He's big now. He's like, what? And then Tony's like, if anyone on our side has any fantastic powers they want to reveal now, this would be a good time.
And so suddenly the fight changes from, okay, it's a dozen individual battles. It changes to stop Giant Man.
And reference episode 5 of Star Wars while we're at it.
Yeah, because Spider-Man uses
Remember
like
that really old movie with the walking robots in the snow?
How old is this
I
kid?
don't know. I didn't carbon date him.
And he does the harpoon and tow cable method of getting him down.
Yeah.
And just like each of the fights is just so well done. And eventually, Steve and Bucky escape on the Quinjet.
Partly thanks to Natasha changing sides briefly, because she's like, all right, fine.
Then again, she's a super spy. She might not have been on their side the whole time.
I think it was an honest to God, okay, fine, I'll change sides. She says I'm going to regret this just before she starts zapping Black Panther.
Yeah. So the Quinjet flies off because Quinjet. And so this is something that I'm honestly shocked that they did. Yeah. They start chasing after it.
I know, right? I was like, oh, this is going to be so dumb. It's like the end of the fight, guys. They've flown away. And they're like, no, like, we have flying guys on our team. They're going to fly.
So War Machine and Vision and Falcon and...
Well, Vision's kind of on the ground. But War Machine, Falcon, and Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah, they all start flying after him. It's like, Iron Man yells, okay, shoot down Hawkeye, a red arrow.
So many. Falcon. He tells Vision to shoot Falcon and turn him into a glider. You know, just not kill him, just shoot the engine so he can glide down. He also has a parachute, people are pointing out.
He misses and hits War Machine, who falls to Earth, and you expect him to be caught. No, he hits the ground.
He just hits the ground.
He just hits the ground really, really freaking hard.
And he's paralyzed, they find out later.
Paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah. I mean, for a moment there, I thought they were going to kill him off, you know?
Falcon goes, I am so sorry. So Tony just raises his hand and just blasts him.
And they were so clever the way they did this. You needed the stakes to be high. You needed someone to get hurt. But if someone were hurt from somebody on the other side, then it was like, well, that guy's done something unforgivable. But if he's hurt from somebody on his own side, accidentally, then it becomes, oh, fighting in general is bad, and it isn't so sad that we're fighting. So you can do this sort of this sad tragedy thing without making someone a permanent enemy of someone else.
Precisely. Then it turns out that, in the infinite, limitless wisdom of the nations of the world, they decided that the most logical place to hold these people, who are largely tech-based and pretty much don't have a whole lot of superpowers of their own, they decided to stick them inside of a submarine fortress. Why do you have this place?
Specifically for these people?
Okay, granted, it's General Ross, but,
yeah.
I bet at least somewhere in here is a place to hide the Hulk, but still, this seems like a ridiculous level of overkill in order to...
And yet, it still doesn't work, doesn't it?
Well, it's Captain America. I bet he glared at the submarine hard enough, and they just let people free because freedom.
Because freedom. It's hard to be a jail cell that believes in freedom.
Yeah. Well, it didn't.
It didn't.
That's how good Captain America is. Excuse me, jail cell. Freedom pops open. How do you do that? I'm Captain America.
Yeah. No, I was... No, that's the... If there's a crossover between... another crossover between DC and Marvel, they should totally have Captain America make friends with Scott Free. Just because his name is Scott Free.
Oh. Who's Scott Free again? Jesus.
Yeah, no, he only shows up... I only know him from Kingdom Come.
Mr. Miracle!
Is that his name? Oh.
The guy who gets out of...
who escapes from everything?
Yes!
Yeah.
Okay, DCAU did a really good episode with
did
him
they?
in Justice League Unlimited. We'll have to check that out in a little bit, but...
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going into Scott Free now.
Okay. So, everyone's imprisoned on the raft.
No, that'd be awesome, You can't get me, Tone. You can't get me, Steve. I'm inside this armor. Excuse me. Freedom. Armor pops open. How did you do that?
That sounds like a meme in the making. Yeah. That's probably how
Hydra locks her. These Hydra. They've locked the door. Freedom.
Stop
that!
I bet you that's how he opens a stuck jar of pickles. He just says freedom and the jar opens itself.
Well, then again, have you seen his muscles? He doesn't... Pickle jars aren't stuck when he's around.
The pickle jar is intimidated by those muscles and just...
Oh, no. I mean, he just opens it.
He just opens it, yeah. So, Captain and Bucky are on the Quinjet.
I'm just imagining. Like, I can open any barrel. Any container. Pickle jar. 50-gallon oil drum. It's not even supposed to open like that.
Yeah.
So they go to Siberia because Siberia.
They're flying to Siberia. In the meantime, Zemo sets it up so that his maid at the hotel discovers the dead psychologist in his bathtub, so that she'll report it to the cops, so that that'll become a news item, so that Tony finds out about it, so that he'll think, holy shit, maybe Cap had something, was correct in saying that there's a villain running around doing evil things. So then he goes to the raft to then talk to Sam to find out where Steve went so he can go help him defeat said villain. And he arranges for the microphones to get turned off so he could talk to him privately. And then he sasses off to Ross on his way out.
Okay, and so they go to this top secret super Hydra facility in which Cap goes to the door and enters like the code, even though it hasn't been maintained for years.
I don't think we saw him entering the code. I think it was just the door was open. I think Zemo left the door open.
Oh. Because this would have been another great freedom joke. Excuse me, Doris. Freedom. Stop that.
But it's neat that they had their big brawl at the midpoint through the movie, and now they're going to do something smaller and more personal for the final fight. I like that.
Okay, so they get into the base, and they're like, we got to stop him from activating these 5 super soldiers. Mm-hmm. And they get down there, and the 5 super soldiers are all in stasis, and they're dead.
And well, first off, Tony shows up, and they make a truce briefly.
Yeah.
The soldiers are all dead. Yeah, they've been shot while they were in stasis. And Zemo's like, yeah, what the hell? You think I wanted more freaks on the running around? What I wanted was for you guys to see this. And they did such a good job of playing with this because they told us there's something important about this mission in 1991. And then they made you think what was important was the super serum, which makes you think it's all about the soldiers. And then it turns out, no, it's because Bucky murdered Tony's parents when he was under mind control. You thought the murder part was like the least important part of that mission. It was actually the most important part. So you're able to establish this without really giving it away. Mm-hmm. So Zemo has been tracking down the video footage because Bucky was dumb enough to shoot them right in front of a camera for some reason.
Yeah, but the worst part, he sees the camera and shoots it after. Yeah, good fucking job, Bucky. The one-time security works, and it's the inverse here. The person is too stupid to realize it.
Yeah.
Also, isn't Hydra like this world-spanning organization? Shouldn't they have been able to like?
Well, I think they did.
Destroy the tapes.
I think they got the tape. They destroyed the original copy and kept their own copy in the archives in this.
Why did they have that then? Why not just say, okay, Winter Soldier completed mission. The targets are dead. Why did they keep? Was this for home movie night?
Yes, yes. This is exactly what they do on Thursdays at Hydra. Hail, home movie Hydra.
Hail Hydra! Who brought the nachos?
Yeah. So yeah, he's got this file and he shows it, and Tony freaks out and he asks Steve, "Did you know?" And he says, "Well, I didn't know it was him. Do not shit me, Rogers. Did you know?" And he's like, "I knew." And they start fighting, and you pointed this out when we talked about this earlier. That, midway through the fight, Steve says to him, "This isn't going to change the past." And Tony's like, "I don't give a damn." Like, that makes sense. Yeah, not everyone's all super noble all the time.
I want to murder the...
I'm going to get vengeance for my parents. Yeah.
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 So they have this big fight scene, and Tony breaks that arm, that stupidly EMP-proof arm of Bucky's, which continues a long-running joke of referencing Star Wars Episode 5.
Yeah.
Where the arm gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, in every movie, someone's arm gets blasted off.
And they did a great job with that fight scene. There's a slow-mo thing where Cap is shielding against Tony shooting at him. Mm-hmm. That was neat. And then in the meantime, Black Panther has been following, and Black Panther finds Zemo while everyone else is fighting, which is a small dose of, hey, Panther, maybe you should stop those guys from killing each other before you do this other thing, but okay, fine. And Zemo explains his backstory to, like, a secondary character, which is kind of interesting, though, right? Like, the main characters aren't involved in every freaking thing that ever happens.
So Baron Zemo's like, he's been listening to these messages throughout the whole movie. Mm-hmm. It turns out that these were messages that he'd recorded from his wife and kids who were killed in Sokovia, or who fucks a Stan.
I think it's Sokovia.
Who gives a fuck a Stan?
Yeah.
And he's been listening to them, and now he's finished the last one, and this is the last he'll ever hear from his family.
Well, he's expecting to either be killed or kill himself. That's why he deletes it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It's symbolic, yeah.
I was getting to that.
Okay.
But Black Panther stops him by, literally holding his hand over the gun.
Yeah.
And catching the bullet because bulletproof metal is what makes up his armor.
Yeah.
And goes, "No, you don't get to do this.
The living are not done with you yet." Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Well, I like that even Black Panther manages to have an arc, right? A vengeance into justice arc that he has.
Okay, so meanwhile, Cap and Bucky and Iron Man are still beating the living crap out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they act... Even when Iron Man is defeated, Cap is starting to leave with Bucky, and Iron Man still gives out one good one. "You don't deserve that shield."
My father made that shield.
Which is
particularly relevant considering the Bucky angle.
Yeah. So Cap leaves behind the shield.
He leaves behind the shield. And you can tell he's like, leaving behind his heart a little too. Like he really cares about Tony. Immediately after they had their giant fight, they're still friends on some level. That should have been the whole message of the Civil War comic that I keep making fun of. But instead it was just, and now we're fighting because we... I mean, once in a while, one of the better writers would reference it and how sad it is that we're fighting. But mostly it was just, they fight, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight.
So, yeah.
So Tony's defeated but not dead. So that's cool.
Yeah, and then Cap goes back to the raft, breaks out everyone who was on his side, brings them to Wakanda, where they're taking refuge from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Bucky's put back under.
Because he decides he's too dangerous with mind control in his brain, which is true. Yeah, there might be any number of other phrases out there. Who knows?
Yeah, I wasn't super happy with this ending.
You weren't?
No.
What was wrong with it?
Well, Bucky basically gets away. I mean, I'd have turned him over to an international court.
Ugh, but all his crimes were done under mind control.
All of them?
Yeah. Including
all the people he tried to murder while running away from the police.
He specifically didn't murder them. Remember that?
He used guns and grenades.
No, they did this whole thing where he says... What was it? Steve says to him, just before the German SWAT team shows up, "No one has to die today." And then Bucky does the thing where he punches straight past him, but actually he's punching into the floor to get his secret backpack, and he says, "I'm not killing anyone." And the whole fight, they're doing shit of, like, hitting a guy, but then specifically not throwing him off the ledge, and,
Yeah.
At one point, Steve goes like, "Come on," because he thought, he took too much of a risk with that one guy. But I don't think he killed a single person that whole scene. All right, so I think he's good on that.
And I still felt it came down a little more heavily on Captain America's side when I felt that Iron Man's side had some equally valid points.
That's true. By the end of the movie, it's not like they've...
Someone could say, "Oh, but Cap lost his shield." Yes, he lost his irreplaceable vibranium shield. And now he's taking refuge in the same nation that is the only one on Earth that makes vibranium. Yeah. I don't think we'll ever see him use his shield again. He's going to have one by the time the next movie comes out. By the next movie, I don't even just...
Well, I'll grant you.
Meanwhile, Tony is like, most of his allies are kind of angry at him or gone away.
Well, yes. I mean...
Oh, yeah, War Machine is crippled, but he has, like, mechanical things helping him walk now.
Yeah. No, I'll grant you. It would have been hard for them to find an ending that was still as precisely balanced as the original argument. And it would have been hard for them to be like, okay, so Cap was right, but at the same time, we are going to adopt, like, a different form of oversight, and it actually is important, and we've discovered why. I'm impressed they juggled as much as they did. So by the end of it, yes, they kind of dropped the registration might be a good idea argument because other stuff has happened. And Tony's, tacitly okay with everyone breaking out of the raft. But he doesn't go on and say, like, okay, it turns out registration in and of itself is a terrible idea. He doesn't abandon that principle, like, explicitly. It's just like, okay, you guys are still my friends, and let's stop fighting for now.
Fair point.
And they're still broken up by the end of the movie. I like that. They didn't and now we get together for the big team Avengers Assemble thingamajig. It's like, okay, we're not fighting, but we're two separate teams, and it's going to take more than one movie to resolve this, kind of. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. The other thing I had a problem with, I kept mentioning this, Baron Zemo is basically omnipotent, super god.
He's...
So basically, they faced down Ultron, who had the access of the entire internet, plus Stark Industries and all of Hydra's facilities, all of the world, and that he couldn't defeat the Avengers. They had Loki, who had a mind control device and the ability to just...
an army from another dimension or whatever.
Yeah. But no, they couldn't defeat them. And then you have Michael McNobody here,
who also doesn't defeat them, so that's fairly consistent.
He splits them up. He defeats them.
Yeah, but like, not as much as he was hoping. They didn't die. Nobody died.
Well, nobody died, but the pantheon of heroes that he wanted destroyed is destroyed. They're broken up now. They're scattered to the four winds of heaven.
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, so here's his plan. Okay, he's pissed because, what is it? Oh, yeah, Tony Stark's thing caused his family to die. Ultron caused his family to die, so he blames Tony Stark and the superheroes. So he uses the files that were put online by Black Widow about the Hydra files, somehow manages to identify this one fucking guy when no doubt every intelligence agency on Earth has been going over those files with a fine-tooth comb to find every Hydra trick, manages to find him before any intelligence agency, deduces that somehow the code book is within his possession.
He's probably
finds this ancient Hydra agent who probably helped to train Bucky in the art of being a murderer.
At least, yeah, he was involved, yeah.
Yeah, so manages to kill him. Then he manages to get his hand on a chameleon net of some sort that makes him look like Bucky. Enough explosives to cause a bombing, a truck, fake IDs good enough to fool like the biggest security central intelligence agency in the world, plus Tony Stark's tech.
I don't know if Tony really scanned him or anything.
Yeah, you think that Tony hasn't been providing his own technology to other government agencies. Yeah. Gets inside this secret base, gives secret commands to Bucky Barnes, and gets out without a scratch on him, and then somehow gets to Siberia, knowing that his actions will lead to a complex.
He'll make the heroes fight each other at the end.
He'll make the heroes fight each other, and then they'll go all the way to Siberia to find him at this one location that he's not even sure will be there, only because, well, it depends on Bucky remembering this stuff that previous films have established. Oh, he's got fuzzy memories of the whole I was brainwashed and crazy thing.
Yeah.
Go into this one small room and assuming they let him speak long enough instead of Iron Man, who's not known for his patience, going, yeah, fuck this, blowing the wall open and punching his head out into a tiny pile of mush.
Yeah.
Also, that the film would be there, B, they would have it would be in good enough condition to be played, and C,
the timing of everyone showing up at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, now some of that we can be like, well, I just imagine...
Look, Gendo Ikari wasn't that good of a planner. Patton wasn't that good of a planner.
I don't know, he still comes off interesting to me somehow. I know you're saying that a lot of this comes off really well in his favor. I'm going to go with he probably had some backup plans here that would have, kind of been somewhat successful even if he hadn't gotten lucky in those occasions that he did.
I'd also like to point out here, and just listen to this. Yeah. He openly admits that he's homeless, that his home was destroyed, and he has no family. How did he get the funds to pull this off?
Now, wait a minute. Just because someone's home was destroyed doesn't mean he doesn't have a bank account. He doesn't say, I've been living in shelters all this time.
Yeah, but, okay. But still, these are a lot of really powerful, really smart people he managed to outsmart with the resources of entire countries or major mega corporations. And yet, with, just the money he has in his bank account, he did this on, a week. Does he have a regular job? Or has he just been,
He might have been draining his savings the whole time. He's planning to commit suicide when he's done.
He has enough in his savings to pull all this shit off, to manage to defeat Tony Stark's technology.
Well, that what's impressive to me is that, I liked him for his variety that way. I liked him that here's a guy who's got nothing in the way of superpowers, nothing in the way of super technology. All he has is a willpower and a clever plan, right? I like the idea of this guy who's just been working in the shadows and nobody notices him because, unlike freaking Loki, he's not plastering his name in everything he ever does, right? He's different that way. I like the difference, you know?
Okay, you just described Batman. You
yes,
seriously
he's
just described
evil Batman. That's what he is. That's kind of what I like about him. He's the evil Batman. And he pulled a Batman gambit to make the heroes fight each other. Pretty cool.
That'd be great if, like, Tony and Iron Man go into that room with the super soldiers and they find him hanging upside down. And they look outside the missile silo and there's the bat signal in the sky. Da 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 na 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 na. Also a note, we're really, 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 really sorry about Batman v Superman.
I still haven't even seen that.
I haven't seen it either. I've just heard it's awful.
Me too. As I predicted. Told you so, everyone. I'm sure I wasn't the only one to predict that. But yeah, no, it was a little Deus Ex-y, but still interesting, I found. Still, I like that he had such a very personal motive. Loki wants to conquer the world! Yeah, Ultron wants to conquer the world! This guy just wants his revenge, you know? And granted, there were a couple other villains that wanted that too, but yeah, I guess overall that is about it.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, so many random things blended together. Here's a random bit. They somehow managed to work in a Vision Wanda romance angle.
A little bit of it, yeah.
A little bit of it. They had, when they're having the argument, he said to her, "We will protect you if everyone came to abduct you or whatever." And then they're having the thing in the kitchen, right? Where he's like cooking and he mentions that he's never actually eaten anything before because he's a robot, you know. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go outside." He's like, "Oh no, you can't." And suddenly, what was a romance scene becomes a Wanda is under house arrest scene from the same character. It was like, whoa, multifaceted thing you're doing in that movie. That's kind of interesting.
It's almost as if people aren't just one-dimensional characters.
Yeah. And Wanda doesn't get kidnapped. Well, I mean, everyone gets kidnapped and thrown in the raft, but Wanda isn't singled out as being the girl to get kidnapped. So that's nice.
Yeah,
Movies, progress.
Yeah, it is progress. Although I do understand why Tony's like, yeah, you shouldn't go outside. Granted, you should have made it more explicit, but like...
You should have talked to her, like, and had her agreement on this, persuaded her.
Yeah, the world sees that you murdered, 30 people, accidentally, mind you, but...
They're going to be mad at you anyway, yeah.
They're going to be mad at you. Heck, this was a thing that happened in Marvel, just the regular comics. After, this disaster, in the beginning of the Civil War storyline, Johnny Storm had the shit kicked out of him.
Right. Because people were turning against metahumans.
Yeah, okay, granted, trying to beat up someone whose sole superpower is I burst into flames. That's pretty stupid of them, but,
Yeah.
Yes, let's get into melee range with the guy whose internal body temperature is hot as a sun. Now, that sounds smart.
Yeah.
No one ever accused the Marvel Universe civilians for being, brain geniuses.
Nope. Now that'll be the new twist. So, intelligent civilians in the next movie. Ooh.
Dude, man, that would be more revolutionary than women who don't wear skimpy clothing in comics. But okay, from what I hear, one line that I did like was, okay, where are the Hulk and Loki? Where are the Hulk and Thor? If I lost 2 nuclear weapons, I would be grilled over that.
Just funny because Ross himself lost the Hulk, but he's the Carbo Houdini, and it makes sense that he is.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's basically like, oh, I'm not responsible for the Hulk this time. Let's see how you fuckers like it.
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for the Hulk. I'm not responsible for the Hulk.
I know.
But from what I hear, the next Hulk and Thor movies will be taking place at the same time that this movie will be taking place as, which is why they weren't able to be contacted.
Oh, really? Interesting. I just assume the Hulk is on some island somewhere, avoiding all contact because he's the Hulk. That happens 100 times in the comics. Oh, is Bruce Banner doing his stay away from all humanity thing? Yep. Okay, cool. Oh, look, there's someone come by and started shooting at him. Now he has to be the Hulk again. Well,
Damn it, why do you keep doing this?
No, nobody ever leaves him the frick alone.
You know, it'd be great, this empire. We are the Jacondic. And so, Bruce Banner, we're giving you this all-expenses paid pass to this super relaxing area. Where you get masseuses.
Stay the frick away,
Here's all your loved ones. They're going to stay there forever, too.
Yep. That would be intelligent. Nobody thinks of that. Yeah.
So, anyways, that's...
And they didn't try to shoehorn Hulk in. You know, some writers have been discussing that. And like, should we throw him in the... You know what? No, you know the movie's crowded enough. Just leave him out. It's fine.
Yeah, plus, Hulk would be
He'd be on the anti-Reg side. He's been running from Ross in the past.
Yeah, and the only way they'd really be able to stop Hulk in this case is...
Natasha would have to say that special phrase to him?
And that's assuming that the Hulk hasn't, like, rationalized that away in between movies. Yeah. The only way they'd be able to stop him is, well, lethally.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
And the Hulk fight would dominate the whole thing, which is why Vision vanishes for, like, most of this fight, too.
Most of the fight, he's just like, he's not... Where is he? I don't know. That's my headcanon. He's just waiting for the thing to recharge, just hovering, like, well, can't do anything about this. Okay.
See, I don't know. If I was a Vision, I would just try yanking shit out of the tech guys.
Yeah, because you got...
Their equipment, not their bodies.
Yeah. I know what you meant, yeah.
I mean, because the phasing thing is one of the scarier powers you can have.
Yeah, no, I mean, theoretically, he could have flown over to the Quinjet and just piloted it away from the airfield.
You know, a lot of people are going like, oh, you know, he's Superman in this movie. I actually think he's more the Martian Manhunter. He's got the Mind Stone in his forehead, so theoretically he might have psychic powers. He can shoot heat beams, which Martian Manhunter can do.
Yeah.
He's
can he? He hates fire.
Yeah, but he still has heat vision.
Oh. Weird.
Because shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, the man from Mars who was teleported there and is the last remnant of his civilization and hates fire has heat beams. That's the weirdest thing about that story.
That's the weirdest thing about that story. Yep.
Yeah. So, and he can turn intangible. So, yeah, he's basically the Martian Manhunter. Which ironically makes him like the strongest character, and he's so strong that they can't use him.
Yeah. That you gotta give him a kryptonite factor of some kind.
Yeah. Which I think is going to be Thanos ripping the damn jewel out of his skull.
Yeah.
Because we know that's going to happen, you know.
Infinity War. 2 of them, actually, coming up.
Yeah, which hopefully that's good.
And hopefully that is the actual end of the MCU. Much as I love it, I mean, how far could they possibly take this after they've had 2 Infinity War movies? Double Infinity? The Infinity plus 1 war?
Well, the Infinity War is the war over the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Gems.
Right.
So,
I'm just saying,
you know, it's not an
what's
infinitely
more,
long war.
But I'm saying is what's more powerful than the, you know, how can you raise the stakes even higher? I mean, the next movie is all just the Avengers versus the shawarma conglomerate. It's like
Avengers versus God.
Oh, that won't receive any complaints from the general public, I'm sure.
Yeah, anyways, I think we've said all that we need to say.
Good movie.
Anyways, I'm Sith King.
And I'm Sonic Sons.
We're signing off.